And like, how do you make the characters, or like, how do you start, like making a new character, and do they resemble people from your real life?
Good question. The question is how do we create characters, or how do I create characters? Very seldom are they based on real people. I think only 2 or 3 times ever in all my books have I ever specifically set out to make a character like somebody that I knew. And one of the reasons for that is because as soon as you start to associate a character with a real person, you are also then limiting that character to being like that person. It also, depending on whether you like the real person or not, makes it harder to kill them off when you need to. You go, well, I can't kill Grandma, no. But what I do is I collect people. I love to be just out in public and listen to other people talking or watching the way people move and interact with other people and how people indicate who they are by how they dress and express themselves and things like that. The other thing, though, and this is harder to explain, characters usually start as almost like the pawns in chess, that they are there for a purpose. And particularly with me, but I'll come back to that, explaining why particularly with me. But what happens is they start as pawns because you need certain things to happen. But the worst thing in the world for a writer, and I think for readers, is if it feels like that character is just there to be the author's tool, right? You want to feel these people are real because look at us. Look at this room full of people. Everybody here has a vibrant life. Everybody here is the hero of their own story. Everybody here. Nobody here is thinking, yes, I'm just sitting here until the author needs me and then, I'll do my thing and go away. No, everybody has a life. And it's crucially important if you want to make characters that feel alive, that they give at least a little of that impression, that there's something genuine, that there's genuine things about them. So for me also, it's even more important because way back when I first started the Dragonbone Chair, I decided that one thing that I did not want to do as a writer was carry on the old, kind of more old-fashioned thing of having what we would call an omniscient narrator. And that doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who's speaking as a character, and telling you what's happening. It can just be the voice. I mean, for instance, J.R.R. Tolkien uses a sort of omniscient narrator in The Lord of the Rings. It's not intrusive in the sense that that narrator is not a character. They're just kind of telling you what's important to know or what is going on. But I decided that one of the ways I wanted to work was to, in a sense, be a little more modern. And therefore, I wanted to tell these big stories from as many different viewpoints as possible so that the readers, first of all, wouldn't be being told, this is true. This is the truth of this event. What they are getting is, this is the impressions, the feelings, the beliefs of the character whose eyes we are looking through and whose thoughts we may be hearing as well. And as a result, needless to say, if you have a story that has 20 plot lines, that means you need 20 focal point characters. So you will start out with somebody as a maybe somewhat unformed character when you first think of them, because you're just thinking, okay, I'm telling this plot line takes place in such and such a place, the royal palace, the ducal palace in Naban. There's a character in these books called Jeza. And Jeza, who is a woman from the Rand, like Tiamat, originally began as a focal point character. I wanted somebody who is not royalty, who would be there, who would also be unfamiliar and be the reader's eye on what was going on. But you can't leave them that way. You cannot leave them as a character who has no personality. They have to develop. And that's part of the fun, is finding out who those characters are and doing your best to make them real. Now, there's one negative thing that goes with that, and it's one of the reasons why I have so much trouble writing actual trilogies that only take 3 books. And that is because I have this strong feeling that once you have introduced a focal point character, like Jeza in the band, or like Morgan, the headstrong, troubled prince, or whoever it might be, we want to see an arc from them all the way through. We don't want them to just vanish from the story when everything's being wrapped up, right? They, just like all of us, they all have their lives. And if I'm going to introduce the reader to these people and follow them for many hundreds of pages and many appearances, then I feel honor bound almost to the character, but also to the readers, to give you that full arc of that character. So you're actually writing 20 or 22 different little miniature novels that all happen to go together. But each character has to have some kind of resolution, the same way that your main characters do. They have to find out who they are, or they have to find out who they're not, and things have to happen to them, and they have to change just like we all do.